Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make homemade marshmallows. This is a really fun confection to make. I love how you can take just water and gelatin and sugar and corn syrup and turn it into marshmallows. Now you can eat these marshmallows as they are, or you could just use it in your baking like you would use a commercially made marshmallow. So the first thing we need to do is get our pan ready. So you will need a 9 by 13 inch pan, that's 23 by 33 centimeter, and just either lightly butter it or oil it, or I've just sprayed it with one of those non-stick cooking sprays. And then take a piece of parchment paper and fit it into the bottom of the pan. Now, if you don't have parchment paper, you could just use either wax paper or even a piece of aluminum foil. And then just take about 3 to 4 tablespoons of confectioner sugar, or you may know that as either powdered or icing sugar, and just put it in a sifter and just sift it over, just all over the bottom of the pan in an even layer. So however much that takes. Make sure you get into all the corners. And this will help once we put the marshmallow in here from sticking to the bottom of the pan. That's why you put the sugar. Okay, so that's that. Now, whenever you're making candy, make sure first you read over your recipe and become really familiar with it, because timing is critical, as we are making a sugar syrup, so you want to really know your recipe well. And the other thing is, have all your equipment out, as you can see I have here, as well as measure all your ingredients, so you're all ready to go. And so the first thing we need to do is to soften some gelatin in water. So if you're using an electric stand mixer like I am here, you need the paddle attachment. If you can use a hand mixer with this, just make sure to use a large heat-proof bowl, because we are dealing with a hot sugar syrup, so make sure your bowl is heat-proof. Now, you will need a half a cup of cold water, that's 120 milliliters, and just put that in your mixing bowl. And then you will need, if you're in North America, we have these packs of unflavored gelatin, and they come in a box, 4 packs to a box. And you can usually find them just on your baking aisle around where all the other little box pudding mixes are, like Jell-O and all that. And so each of these envelopes is 1/4 ounce, 7 grams. So what you need is 3/4 ounce or 21 grams. So just take your the gelatin and just sprinkle it over the top of the cold water. And so what this does is, as it sits, and it's going to sit while we make the sugar syrup, the gelatin will absorb the cold water and get all soft and spongy. That's called blooming. And that's what gives the marshmallow that really nice, light and spongy texture, is the gelatin. But you want to use unflavored. And so just let that sit, and it'll swell up and become really, and absorb all that water and become really soft. Now, for the sugar syrup, use a really heavy-duty saucepan with a heavy bottom, because you want the syrup to cook evenly. And also have a tight-fitting lid. And you also need a candy thermometer. Make sure it's a candy thermometer. We will be going up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 115 Celsius. We're going to the softball stage, so just make sure. And I like to buy the kind of candy thermometer that has this clip on the back, so you can just clip it onto the side of your saucepan. So first put 2 cups, that's 400 grams, of granulated white sugar in your pot. And then along with another half cup, 120 milliliters of cold water. And then you need 1 cup, 240 milliliters of light corn syrup. Now, whenever you're measuring out something sticky, like corn syrup or molasses or something, what I do is just spray the inside of the cup with your nonstick cooking spray, or you can even just lightly butter it. And you will find that your corn syrup will come out a lot easier and not stick so much to the sides of your measuring cup. Okay, and then we also need just 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, I'm using a heat-proof spatula, or just use a wooden spoon. And turn your heat to pretty medium-high. And we're going to bring this stir, so we want the sugar to dissolve, and we're going to bring this just to a boil. And just, you know, stir it to make sure everything's mixed together and to help that sugar dissolve. So just to a boil. Okay, our sugar syrup has now come to a boil. Now what we need to do, you can either wash down the sides of the pan with the pastry brush dipped in cold water, but what I like to do is I just take the lid and put it on top, and then I just set my timer for 2 minutes. And what that does is the condensation will wash down the sides of your pot and then get rid of any sugar that may have formed. Now, make sure you adjust your heat. You don't, before you put the lid on, you don't want it really boiling, like over boiling. So adjust your heat. You want a nice boil to this, but not furiously boiling. So 2 minutes. Okay, so just take your lid off. As you can see, you want a nice boil like this. This is what you're looking for, so adjust your heat as you need to. And then just take your candy thermometer and clip it onto the side. Now don't have you don't want the bottom of the thermometer to be sitting on the bottom of the pot, because then your reading will be a little off. Have it a little up. So what we're going to is 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 115 degrees Celsius. And you know, that can take between 5 and 10 minutes. And don't stir it, just leave it. Just don't stir it. Now, this is what your gelatin will look like. As you can see, it's really all soft and quite spongy, so that's what you're looking for the gelatin. Okay, so we're at 240, the softball stage, 115, so take it off the heat, remove your candy thermometer, and then start your mixer on low speed, and then be careful with this, it's hot. We're going to slowly pour in the sugar into the gelatin, but do this slowly. Now if you're using a hand mixer, you'll have to get someone to help you with this, a 2-person job. So just slowly pour it in. Be careful, you don't want that hot syrup coming up at you. Okay, so now you're going to gradually increase your speed to high speed. Right now it's kind of an opaque color, and what's going to happen is the more we beat it, it's going to turn like white, like a meringue almost, really white and fluffy and shiny and really thick. And so just like I'm doing here, just gradually increase your speed, because you don't want that coming up at you. And you will also know if you touch your bowl, it's like really hot right now. We're going to beat this probably at least 10 minutes. You might even, if you're using a hand mixer, maybe even 10 to 15 minutes. And you will notice as it gets thick, really, really thick, the bowl will start to cool down. So by the time it's ready, your bowl will be cool. So just keep increasing so beat it until it's really thick, white, and nice and shiny. Can you hear that slapping sound? That's what you're looking for. That's kind of a really good indication that you know your marshmallow is about done, is when you really hear like banging. And The bowl is now lukewarm. So now we're going to add some flavor. Now I like to add pure vanilla extract, about 2 teaspoons. You can vary that depending. I like a good vanilla flavor to my marshmallow. Or like you could add, if it's around Christmas time, you want to add peppermint extract, you want to add lemon, you want to add almond. You can really experiment. And also at this point, if you would like to color, if you don't want them white, say if you're going to add peppermint, you might want to add some pink or red. You know, if it's around Halloween, you might want to put in some orange. Just have fun. Valentine's Day, a pink, you know, have fun with it. So now I'm just going to beat the vanilla extract in. Do it at slow speed to start because you don't want that vanilla, you know, flying up in your face. Okay, so here we have it. This is what you're looking for. It's very thick, as you can see. It's really marshmallow fluff or marshmallow cream. That's what we have here. See, it's really, and it's sticky, really sticky. So just be aware of your hands, the counter, everything maybe. Now I kind of like to kind of get my spatula a little wet. That sometimes helps, but just be aware of what you're dealing with here with this stuff. But it's well worth it. So just get as much as off your beater as you can. I'm just going to put that in there. And then we're going to scrape this as much as we can into our prepared pan. As you can see, this is just like the marshmallow cream or fluff you get in those jars. Don't worry about your mixing bowl. A little hot water and marshmallow will just dissolve right off the sides there and make a cleanup pretty easy. As you can see, this is messy stuff. So I like to just dip it in water. It kind of helps a bit. Maybe you'll come up with a brilliant idea of how to do this better. Okay, good enough. So just scrape it off as best as you can. Wipe my hands here. And then, some people like to wet their hands, or lightly butter them, and then just kind of spread it as best as you can into the pan. Sometimes I find just getting a little water on my hands and then just patting it helps it. Like I said, it's okay. I do find if you get just a touch of water on the top, it does help it to spread. It's not too critical how even it is. Okay, so now we're just going to take another 3-4 tablespoons of powdered sugar and just Again, sift it over the top. Put quite a bit on here. Just so that you don't want the marshmallow. We have to let this sit for probably 8 to 12 hours. I just do it and let it sit overnight in order for the marshmallow to firm up. So you want to make sure there's a really good layer of sugar so the top of the marshmallow cream does not dry out. So be really generous with the sugar here. So I'm just going to let this sit, like I said, 8, 12 hours. I just let it sit overnight, just like it is, uncovered. And then after that, we will cut it into squares. Now, like I said, your mixing bowl is, as you can see, is a bit of a mess. Just fill it with really hot tap water, and that'll clean that off. And your pot that you did the sugar syrup, what I do is I fill it with water, I put it back on the stove, just bring it up to a boil, and then turn your heat off and let that sit, and then all your sugar syrup will dissolve as well. So after this is firmed up, then we will cut it into squares. So we're now ready to cut our marshmallow into squares. So as you can see, it's really nice and spongy. So take a sharp knife and just loosen the marshmallow from the sides of the pan. And then kind of take one end, as you can see, and then just gonna dust. You can use a cutting board, or I'm just using a piece of parchment paper here. Just dust it with powdered sugar. And this is coming away really nice from the parchment paper. If it still sticks, then sometimes you have to turn it upside down and peel the paper off, but mine worked out nice there this time. So then, cut it into squares, or really any shape you want. I have found the best thing for this, because it's still a little sticky on the sides, is to use kitchen shears, just clean kitchen shears. But you could use like just a pizza wheel, or even just a sharp knife. So what you do is I'm just going to cut it into squares. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to do when you have these kitchen shears. And then let's cut it like that. You might have to wipe your scissors every once in a while because it is sticky. And then just sift quite a few cups of powdered sugar to start. It's hard to know how sticky your marshmallow, how much you will need. Just have a lot on hand. And then because all of the edges where you cut are really sticky still, so then just toss them in the sugar, making sure everything's covered, like so. And then what I do, because you don't want too much sugar on, I just have a strainer and just put it in there, and then and then you'll get all the excess sugar off. And just keep doing that. And then you can cover and store these in an airtight container for probably a couple weeks. Now, if I'm at home, I just put it like in a plastic Ziploc bag, and then I use a straw and try to get all the air out, because you want it airtight. If you're going to this is a great gift, and it's inexpensive to make, so you might want to think about giving this to your friends. Just put it in like a nice party bag with a pretty bow. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.